Say, Sku, which would you say is the better Kurt Russell, Sylvester Stallone, David Hasselhoff team-up movie?
Is there one? Guardians. Just seen it.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, the sequel to the smash hit, which blew everyone away a couple of years ago. James Gunn is back, directing and writing again.
Mm-hmm.
The cast is back.
Yep.
What did you think?
I loved it.
So did I.
End of review. No, this was awesome.
It was a great film.
I mean, you know, sequels. Sequels are the hardest thing to do.
They definitely are. And in this instance, I really think it felt like a continuation of the first one.
Yeah.
Rather than, here's another take on it or anything like that. For me, the big thing was the continuity of it. It felt like it was the same creative team. It looked the same. It felt the same. The actors felt they were still in the moments from the previous film and everything like that. It really felt like, and here's another adventure of our guys, continuing on from the previous one.
And yet everything was stepped up another notch, wasn't it? I mean, the comedy was stepped up a notch, the characters were stepped up a notch. Even little side characters that sort of had less of a role in the last one got a bigger role in this one, which could have been a concern for people going into this thinking, are they going too far with Yondu or too far?
I was really, really glad to see the expansion of a couple of those supporting characters from the first film. Didn't quite get enough to really go, oh, that's awesome. This one really gave pretty much all those characters meatier roles, a lot more interest and involvement in the storyline, and it really worked out great for both Nebula and Yondu in terms of satisfying stories, really fleshing out those characters and their relationships.
Super funny. Like heaps of comedy, and it all worked. It was great. It was a mixture of character comedy and physical comedy, the best types of comedy, and they just nailed it. Like, they took all of the character traits and the comedic sort of traits of the previous characters like Drax and amplified it and just absolutely just kept knocking out of the park every single joke. Landed.
They've certainly found the right tone that they want for those characters. Drax in particular, they've clearly found this is the way this character works. This is how the comedy works. Dave Bautista does a great job, and just every time he's got a line, just boom, nails it. It's perfect.
It also had a lot of heart, didn't it, this movie? It
Huge
had
amount.
Heaps of heart. Like, a lot of other movies go more for comedy and forget about the heart, but the heart was there all the way. And it was more emotional this time around. The characters, certain characters had real emotional anchors to them, and you really actually felt for them when good things or bad things happen to them. It was really cool.
I mean, the basic storyline of it really comes out of that story of who is Peter Quill's father, which was kind of introduced in the first one. Here it really becomes the center tentpole of the entire movie. That relationship between Star-Lord and Ego is really interesting. It's just great seeing Kurt Russell do something like this. He's supposed to be in these movies, for goodness sakes, people. And we had the bit at the beginning of the film where we saw young Kurt Russell. I don't know what technology those guys at Marvel are doing.
It's getting better and better every time.
That's a really bad sign.
All your favourite characters are back. And their relationships are even more strengthened this time around. Star-Lord and Gamora.
Star-Lord and Gamora still got that wonderful will they, won't they?
Will they, won't they? And even they talk about it, make a kind of joke out of it, saying it's like a TV show where the characters flirt the whole time. And when they do eventually get together, the ratings drop, so they didn't want to quite do that. I thought that was cool. A lot of references, so many references to the 70s, 80s. The songs, fantastic. Soundtrack.
For me, the soundtrack was good, but it wasn't quite as good as the first one.
Well, it was unexpected, though. I liked that. That was the kind of good thing. It was songs that, when the song played, it was sort of like, oh, okay, yeah, right. You know, I think a lot of people expected a certain vibe, and it was slightly different, so I liked the unexpectedness of it.
Yeah, James Gunn is doing an awesome job in terms of finding the right music to accentuate the right emotions for the right scenes. Even just in the opening shots, reintroducing the Guardians over the main credits. Fantastic.
We have to talk about Baby Groot.
We have to.
I was a little concerned about Groot because I wasn't sure. I'd seen him in the trailer, obviously, and I was worried that you were going to get a bit sick of him because it's just, I'm Groot. But man, they made you just fall in love with Baby Groot. I'm Groot. No! I found he was like a mixture of like a toddler and a puppy.
Yeah.
Together. he was so adorable. And they treated him like he was adorable. All of the characters, when they interacted with him, they sort of held him like this, and they talked to him like a little child or whatever. And it was really sweet. It had a lot of heart to it, and you couldn't help but just fall in.
But again, it's just being so masterful in terms of treating that character in just the right way, a hair either way, and you go, oh, I hate this version.
It was the same for all of the characters, really. A hair either way of Yondu or Drax, even. If they just pushed it too far one way or the other.
But they managed to shoot it right in the exact right section to be able to get everybody bang on what you want them to be, and not overstay their welcome. Baby Drax could easily have Baby Drax. I want it right.
Actually,
Guardians babies.
No.
It's out there for you, Disney. Go ahead. One thing we should talk about is all the wonderful Easter eggs that they had in there, not only referring back to the first Guardians movie, but also to the comic books.
And just pop culture in general.
Just everything.
Pac-Man, Mary Poppins, things like that.
Of course, one of my favourite little Easter eggs in there was the wonderful, and up until about a week ago, I didn't know it was going to be in there, surprise guest star from Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Sylvester Stallone was fantastic in this.
He's been in a few sort of sci-fi movies before. Demolition Man being one of them.
But he's the most convincing I've seen him since Rocky in this one. And it's like, wow.
And how cool was it? A scene with him and Michael Rooker together, first time since Cliffhanger, which I thought was really cool. And Kurt Russell although they didn't share a scene together, Kurt Russell and Sly, Tango and Cash.
Yeah.
So
Tango
some very 80s actors in there brought into the modern realm, and they're awesome. They give it so much sort of weight and credibility because these guys are like they're veterans, and when they're in there, they just you just can't help but.
He says, "Welcome to the frickin' Guardians of the Galaxy."
So overall, I loved it. I loved this movie. I mean, straight away, I was just like, oh yes, this is good. This is good. And the crowd that we were with watching it, they were just loving it. Lots of laughs. A bit of tears shared at the end, actual genuine ones. It was emotional. It was funny. It was action-packed. It looked fantastic. It was well-directed, well-paced, well-put together. I just got it so right.
I'm definitely saying it's on a par with Guardians 1. If you like Guardians 1, you will like Guardians 2. It is more of the same. That's not a bad thing. Overall in the MCU, we've still had a couple of stronger movies than that.
This is the most
it's
fun,
in the top echelon.
It's
it's
fun.
Definitely
it's
fun.
Way more fun than the other ones, which are a little more.
Look out! Oh wow! I tried, guys.
So those are our thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Very cool. Go see it.
And if you guys like our video, let us know down below. Don't forget to thumbs up the video too, and subscribe to the channel for weekly videos right here for now.
Yes, but we'll be back with a rockin' soundtrack and possibly a small tree.